let's kick it off here with the Beth Center Bulldogs going alphabetically. Beth Center finished, I believe, second to last in this conference, maybe third to last. I'm not sure if they beat. Maybe we can go back and look. I think they beat Charleroi last year, but let's see here. Actually,
No, no.
Charleroi shut them out 27-0. Okay, so they finished second to last. But, Colby Coons goes down with an injury over the spring. They're getting a new coach. Colby Coons' father leaves the program. So, what are you looking at Beth Center here? Because, not a lot of hope on the horizon, I'd say, for the Bulldogs. But, what are you seeing from them entering the season?
I just want to say, first off, how shocking this is to me. Beth Center has always been, a local power back to their Tri-County South days. And even since they've joined the Century, other than the last season, the year before that, they've been right in it. But I don't know what's going on in Fredericktown. They're trying to figure some things out. New head coach. He's going to have his hands full. He's not going to have his best player in Coons back. Aiden Shimchak, he's going to have his hands full. I'm sure he's going to get a lot of carries, the big senior tailback. And other than that, a lot of guys are going to have to step up. Ethan Varesco, sophomore wide receiver, he's going to have to be, you don't want to put a sophomore in those positions to go out there and help the team, but, sometimes you have to. And maybe he's up for the task. I don't know. Someone's going to have to prove me wrong. But, yeah, and even just looking at Beth Center's schedule, it's going to be a tough one against Greensburg Central Catholic. I follow a bunch of their coaches on Twitter. They're really impressed. I know they've got a lot of recruits. And, again, they have that advantage being Catholic program nonetheless. And then at California, at West Green, at Char Houston, at Elizabeth Forward,
Nice.
And then your homecoming is Wash High. My goodness, this is the first time I've looked at their schedule. They got the gauntlet to start the season, and it doesn't get any easier. You got to get against the Fraser Commodores and at McGuffey. That's a brutal schedule if I've ever seen one, especially that first. You got a 4-game stretch where you're at California. That's just right down the road. At West Green, that's a good drive from Fredericktown. Char Houston's not too bad. Elizabeth Forward's a little up there. But still, those are some good – we're talking about the two top teams, in our opinion, in Tri-County South. Char Houston, who we'll talk about later, and Elizabeth Forward, who's the defending 3A runner-up. That's a tough stretch for Beth Center.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and looking at their offensive line, too, I mean, they're deep. Like, if you look at their offensive and defensive line, they return just about, almost all the starters. But as far as weapons go, I mean, who's gonna generate this offense? Because going down the stretch last year, 18 points in 5 games in the middle of the season, sandwiched with 20 points scored against Waynesburg and McGuffey. They gotta find their offense from someone, and losing Colby Coons is just not optimal. Even if you're bringing him back, I'm not sure how the offense even functions with him, because it didn't function last year. What, and this is going to be a final question here for the Bulldogs, but what will have to happen for the Bulldogs to be considered as having a good season this year?
Build for next year. This is a storied program. My dad and I were talking about them earlier. Tradition is a big thing. They got a coach that's been around, the Mon Valley, Anthony Rosito. I think I'm saying that right. He's going to have to, this year's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie, but you got to look 2-3 years down the road. I know that's tough. I know Beth Center's a win now program. They have that in mind. The community of Fredericktown wants that. But really, they're just going to have to take their bruises now and their beatings now and look forward. They do have a fairly young roster. The Bulldogs do. So, get those guys some experience. Keep their heads in it too. Don't let them, put the team necessarily. That's not what, let them take their bumps and bruises now. That's going to help them when they're juniors and seniors. There's some winnable games here, though, for Beth Center. I mean, you got, Waynesburg, that could be a toss up. At Charleroi, I know the Charleroi shut them out last year, but who knows? Things could go either way for the Bulldogs. So, I mean, there's chances. I think the Bulldogs. I hate to say this. I think the Bulldogs can win a game or two, though. I think that's a good season for them. I know fans in Fredericktown, it's playoffs or nothing, but it's just a different era of Beth Center Bulldogs right now as they're trying to figure themselves out.
Even a game against West Green also might be a calendar appointment for Beth Center. Those teams are not terribly far away, and don't play each other that often either.